kufran. Poverty can lead to disbelief. These children that we see as almajiris and we laugh at them and we treat them as victims, somebody will just come and pick them up, put them in a school, give them medical care, and convert them to another religion. And they will do that by the hundreds and the thousands. So, what we see on the street is a product of bad economic policies and wrong priorities. These children are not criminals, they are victims. What part of Islamic law, what verse in the Quran, what hadith of the Prophet allows a father to give birth to a child and leave the child to go and fend for himself? Where? Sheikh Abdullah bin Fodi said, for you to send a child out to study the Quran without the means to sustain himself and allow that child to go around begging is desecrating and devaluing the Quran. Where did we get this idea that because you claim to be studying the Quran, you can go and just be begging around and not learning? Then how can we reduce the distance? And there are things we've got to look at, and I like the idea of IET because I have been saying in the last 2-3 years that we have to look at the distances that have been created between our children and education. And there are 3 key distances we must look at. One distance is language. Today in Nigeria, if you do not read and write in English, you are an illiterate. You can study Arabic. You can be fluent in Arabic. You can read and write Hausa. They will call you illiterate if it's Ajami. The British ruled us for 46 years. We have been independent for 60 years, and we have remained in that colonial mindset. Why is it that a child who is able to read the Quran from Baqarah to Nas is considered an illiterate, and the system has no place for him? We must ask those questions. Why can't the educational curriculum be expanded to accommodate other languages? Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, Arabic. You can teach English as a language, but what is so special about English that for you to study, it is so bad that if you want to do BA Hausa, if you don't have credit in English, you will not get admission into the university. I mean, how sensible is that? You want a degree in agriculture, you want to study animal husbandry. You can't learn in Hausa, you can't learn in Yoruba, you can't learn in Arabic. It has to be in English. Do you speak English to the cattle? How can you be a medical doctor studying in German and in French and in Czech and in Mandarin and in Swahili, but you can't be a medical doctor studying in, and you can be a medical doctor studying in Arabic if you're in Egypt or the Sudan, but you can't be a medical doctor studying Arabic in Nigeria. So one of the things we've got to do is look at how we have a curriculum that allows for the mainstreaming of people who had an education, but not in the English language, but who are intelligent people, educated people. And I've done this before. I stop when children stop on the road, and I'm going to a village, and there will be an Islamia section and a primary section. And I go to the Islamia section, and I'm surprised. I see a very young girl She knows what is ism, fi'l, harf, fi'l al-madi, fi'l al-mudari. I speak to the child in the primary section. They cannot answer, how old are you? And yet, this child that gets high quality education in Arabic has no value in the system. Whereas this one that spent 6 years in a primary school and cannot read and write seems to have a higher value. There is something wrong with that system. And it cannot, this is the first distance. The second distance is technology. We're in the age of the fourth industrial revolution. In northern Nigeria, so many people are holding phones. So many people are holding smartphones. The latest iPhones. You ask them, what do you do with your phone? They send text messages, WhatsApp, take pictures. But the telephone in your hand is infrastructure through which you can deliver education. You can learn how to code. You can learn science. You can deliver education to a child in a village using the telephone in his hand. You don't have to wait and build brick and mortar. So if we really want to address these problems, we've got to think, how do you use technology to reduce the cost? And I'm glad that a state like Kaduna, a state like Ekiti have started looking at coding for primary school children. This is what Kenya is doing. And these are things that I think IET also needs to look at, because again, I've seen the schools. We just have to continue building that. It's not just about, we all have to learn the Quran and the Hadith and fiqh, but we also have to live in this world. So these are distances that I think we have created, that I think we can leapfrog. Now the final thing is da'wah itself and its relation to civil society. And I think Noor made the point, we can't continue criticizing, we have to work, do things yourselves, and that's true. But the reality is, for the Muslim community, if we do not criticize ourselves, if we do not look at ourselves in the eyes and say we should be better than this, we don't do ourselves justice. That is the truth. Northern Nigeria is better than this. We should not be the poverty capital of the world. We are better than this. And for me, one of the reasons that we are where we are is that da'wah has failed to focus on these issues. Because da'wah is first and foremost amr bil ma'ruf and nahy anil munkar. And once you stop criticizing, once you stop saying this is wrong, the entire society is destroyed. Ibn al-Qayyim was doing analysis of certain verses in Surah Al-A'raf. وَاسْأَلْهُمْ عَنِ الْقَرْيَةِ الَّتِي كَانَتْ حَاضِرَةَ الْبَحْرِ إِذْ يَعْدُونَ فِي السَّبْتِ إِذْ تَأْتِيهِمْ حِيتَانُهُمْ شُرَّعًا وَيَوْمَ السَّبْتِ لَا تَأْتِيهِمْ كَذَلِكَ بَلَوْنَاهُمْ بِمَا كَانُوا يَفْسُقُونَ. Those verses of that village that was prohibited from fishing on Saturday. And what happened was that fish would come on Saturday, and some people decided that they were going to fish on that day. One group told them, don't do it. Allah says you should not do it. But another group said, why are you wasting your time talking to them? Don't bother. At the end of the day, when Allah visited his pestilence, only those who said stop were saved. Those who fished and those who watched them do the evil and said nothing were all destroyed. And this is what happens to a society. The silence of the du'at, the silence of ulama, the silence of intellectuals, the silence of the press, when they should speak, is what destroys a community. And what has destroyed northern Nigeria is silence. Da'wah must open the mouth of people to speak the truth. I will stop here. I do not want to get into any controversy. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.